Glitter Goddesses, happy Saturday. Hope you're all doing well. We are going to have a surprise show, and I'm going to be doing I'm gonna fancy up a notepad. I'm gonna make a notepad holder. I'm gonna try and make it semi-permanent. Gonna use Tyvek, and I think I'm gonna get messy too while I'm at it, so that's why I have my little splat mat down. So I think these might make good gifts, and I don't think they're going to be too hard to make. I am going to leave this video up on the YouTube channel, and we'll do all the measurements so you can have it as a reference if you want. All right, so these are Amazon Basics mini writing pads. They're half the size of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So Amazon says they're 5 by 8, so they're not quite half the size. Let me see if they are 5 by 8. Normally these are 5.5 by 8.25, so I guess we'll find out. Yeah, they are 5 by 8. All right. Yep, pretty much exactly 5 by 8. Okay. So what I'm thinking is we'll do something that can hold two of them. So there'll be one here and one here. Let's put a pen holder in between them. And two of them stuck together is, I think, a 1/2 inch is going to be plenty of space. Well, a 1/2 inch is not quite. Oh yeah, a 1/2 inch will be plenty. Okay. All right, so let's say I'm going to do 5.25 by 8.25 chipboard. And then we'll do, this will be 1/2 inch by 8.25 chipboard, and we need two of the 5.25 by 8.5. Except not 5.25 by 8.25, because we have to make it wider to accommodate if we're doing a pen. So let's just make it 6, or would 6 be enough? Yeah, 6 would be enough. So we'll make it 6 by 8.25, and let's just do 6 by 8.5, just so it's a little bit easier. All right, so we need 2 pieces of chipboard that are 6 inches wide by 8.5 inches long. And we need 1 piece of chipboard that's 1/2 of an inch wide and 8.5 inches long. Then we need a piece of Tyvek, so it'll be really sturdy, that is long enough to add an inch here and here and go all the way around it. So let me get my, so it's 12 plus 2 inches is 14. And then it's 14 plus, we need another 1/4 of an inch in between those. So it's got to be 14. Let's just make it 15 inches. And then if we have extra, we have extra. 15 inches by 10.5. So let's make it 15 by 11. We'll start there. Okay. Mr. Lifeguard is cutting the grass. Now let's find out how wide this is. It's 26. So that, or it's 16. So that gives us our 15. So I just need to cut off a 12, like a 11-inch piece of this. Roll. Which is nice. Hopefully it will fit in my trimmer. Okay, so this this Tyvek is a little too long for my trimmer, but we'll survive. Okay. So I've got, oh, I know, so much math. So much math. All right. So I've got this piece, and this piece is big enough. Okay, it's bigger than I need, I'm pretty sure, because I think it is, yeah, it's like 11.5 by 16, so it's big enough. All right, for a start. So now what we need, I'm gonna move these so they don't get messy. We need to cut our chipboards. And since one of our measurements is 6, I'll cut them out of a big piece. So we'll cut them to, what are they, 8.5 by 6, all right. Now we're going to be working with black on black here because my chipboard is black and my Tyvek is black. And then for the next piece, or the last piece, it's 1/2 of an inch by 8.5 inches. There it is. All right. So let's talk about strategy. So for strategy here, I'm gonna look and see which side of this paper looks nicer and put the nicer side down. I'm gonna use the Perfect Paper Adhesive glue because we did find out that this does really well with the Tyvek. And what I'm gonna do is, let me move the Tyvek so that you can see a little bit better. I'm gonna cover, just gonna put a bunch of it right at the top there. And then I have a squeegee, and I'm just gonna use this squeegee to make sure that this entire piece of chipboard is got glue on it. And you can see it's soaking in to the chipboard and drying. All right. Okay, so now that I've got this totally wet, or as wet as I can, I'm gonna pick it up and I'm going to clean this. That purple is the dye from the chipboard leaking off as it gets wet. And all right. Then we'll bring back the Tyvek, and I'm gonna just set this down on it. Okay, then I'm gonna take my wipe. This is a wipe that's a little bit dry from my recycling bin. Clean it off the Tyvek, and then I'm going to use bone folders. And really make sure my glue is spread really, really, really well. So I'm going over it several times, really applying a lot of pressure, and then I'm going to flip it over. You can see we do have some ooze, so we're just going to go with the dry wipe. You can use a paper towel. All right, so we've got that piece done. Now we're going to do something similar. We're going to put this one down. This is the small skinny one. What I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to put the glue where the small skinny one would go. And I'm just going to use the spreader to get it in a nice little layer. And then you need to put a space between them, and the perfect trim tool is the right width for this, or you could use a ruler. But there needs to be a gap between the two chipboard pieces. All right. I'm gonna just press it down, and then go over it with a bone folder. And then I'm gonna clean, oops, and hold it when you're cleaning so you don't move it too much. And clean up the glue in between as well. And then I'm going to flip it over, and we're going to go over it. Now you could use glossy accents for this if you don't have perfect paper adhesive. All right, let's set this aside. And then get the last piece. And I'm gonna just take my squeegee and spread it out. You could use a paintbrush or whatever. You just need a layer that's thick enough that it's not gonna dry while it's set aside. Then I'm gonna pick it up, get it off my desk, clean this up as best I can with first the wet wipe and then the dry wipe. Going to bring back this piece and place this down. And get my perfect trim tool to act as a spacer. And then hold it. To get it to catch. And then this is the dry one. Use the dry wipe to press it down. And clean up. And this is the hardest part, is getting it covered. But, okay, now flip it over and really burnish it well. See those air bubbles that I pulled out? I don't know if you can see it, it's because it's dark, but I'm pulling air bubbles out of it as I burnish it. All right, so I'm gonna clean it up again. Pick it up. It's messy because of the dye in the chipboard, because it is a black chipboard. I'm actually needing to place a chipboard order because I am out of 12 by 12 that isn't black. So now I'm gonna clean up. All right, and I'm gonna set it aside and clean my mat again. What I wish is that I had a roll of paper towels up here. That's kind of silly that I don't, but oh well. Okay, so this is now in place pretty well. So I can get rid of my excess and start to wrap it. So I don't need my splat mat anymore, I don't think. Because I think just to be fast, because it is a show, I'm going to probably do glossy accents for the rest of it. So I'm going to trim it so that there's an inch of excess all the way around. Now you don't have to use Tyvek for this, but it'll last a lot longer if you do, I think. So because you won't have to worry about tearing. All right, look at this. So it's trimming up nicely. All right, now this is how it looks. So we've got the outside, the inside. Now we're gonna do the corners. So I'm gonna get my perfect trim tool and I'm gonna use the 0.0625 side because that's the thickness that corresponds with my chipboard. And I'm gonna cut the corners off. And that'll be nice. So far we're doing really well here. All right. Now we can do our corners. So the first thing I'm going to do is use my bone folder to score the Tyvek. All right. And this is just to get them used to folding, because when you're working with liquid glue, you don't want to be fighting the Tyvek to get it into position. You want it kind of to want to go into the position you're trying to put it in. All right, so I'm gonna start with alongside here, and I'm gonna run a bead of Glossy Accents. Ugh, it's clogged again. So annoying. Okay. All right, I'm not going to use Glossy Accents. I'll just use the Perfect Paper Adhesive. So I'm going to run a line of Perfect Paper Adhesive all along the edge. And then I'm going to put it on the chipboard itself, about an inch up. And then on the edge of this. Okay. And then I'm going to grab some clothespins. And we're going to wrap it. So I'm going to get the bone folder right up on the edge, and then get this laying flat. right. And once we've got it in place, I'm going to use these clothespins to hold it in place so that I personally don't have to hold it. And so I don't have to stop working like I would if I was using the bacon presses. So let's do the other long side. And so step one is I'm going to run the bone folder all along the edge, and then we'll pull it tight. You can make this for yourself as a project planner. And the notepads we're going to make removable so that if you fill up a notepad, you know, you just replace it and you don't have to lose the piece, the wrapper. So, more clothespins. All right. Now I'm gonna add some more clothespins. I originally didn't do these corners because I wanted to keep going, but they do need to be held down. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little bit of a break to let this dry enough that it can be handled without having these clothespins, without needing these clothespins. So I'm going to set it aside. We'll let it dry on my desk for a little bit. My other desk. I have two desks. And we'll work on some of the other components. All right. So, we know the general measurements of everything. So we can start working on the liner for it. So I'm going to do a quick recording break so that the liner's in its own separate video. So hang tight.